President Bola Tinubu has congratulated the government and people of Liberia on the successful conduct of the country's presidential election. President Tinubu also congratulated President-elect Joseph Boakao, who won the mandate of the people, asking him to unite the country and deliver good governance to the people of Liberia. In a statement by his special advisor on media and publicity, Ajuri Ngelale, President Tinubu commended President George Weah for demonstrating uncommon leadership by conceding the election and averting any form of socio-political crisis. The president says President Weah's great act of democratic sportsmanship is exemplary, particularly at this time in West Africa, when democracy is under attack by malign actors who are bent on subverting the will of the people. And earlier today, President George Weah called his challenger in the presidential race, Joseph Boakao, to congratulate him on his victory. In an address to the nation, he said, quote, "The Liberian people have spoken and we have heard their voice," end quote. We have details of this in this report. The opposition candidate holds an unassailable lead of 28,000 votes with nearly all ballots counted. Earlier, the Electoral Commission announced that Mr. Boakao, a 78-year-old political veteran, had 50.89% of the votes, while President Weah had 49.11%. A former football star, President Weah, referred to the closeness of the race, saying, quote, "It reveals a deep division within the country," end quote, and called on Liberians to work together to find common ground. Mr. Weah was magnanimous in defeat, beginning his 5-minute address by saying he had, quote, "the utmost respect for the democratic process that has defined our nation," end quote, adding that he had spoken to Mr. Boakao, who he called the president-elect. He has been in power since 2018 and will now step down in January. He came into the job on a wave of enthusiasm, especially from younger voters, having won that election also against Mr. Boakao by a large margin. But a perception that he had failed to tackle corruption, rising prices and continued economic difficulties tarnished his image. Mr. Boakao's supporters gathered at his party headquarters in the city, convinced that he had won the election. They called for President Weah to go and chanted, "We beat the Booga dancer," referring to a song that became associated with President Weah's campaign. The Electoral Commission says it has announced the result from 98.58% of the polling stations following Tuesday's runoff election. The runoff between Mr. Boakao and Mr. Weah was triggered after neither candidate got more than 50% of the vote in last month's first round. There were 18 other candidates. In that vote, the president got the largest share and was just 7,000 votes ahead of Mr. Boakao.